we doing? Are we okay? Are we still awake? Do we need another coffee? Yes? Are you still alive? Yes, we are alive. Thank you so much for responding. Yes, because when the doctor was here and he was asking for responses, I just heard crickets. So I need to know that you're still with me, yeah? So once again, thank you to Dr. Tanazli for sharing his expertise in such an important topic. So now we are going to pivot to an engaging conversation ahead with our next panel. So we are going to take a deep dive into the question of, are today's younger generation facing more depression and anxiety than those before them, which we're going to take a really nice deep dive into it. So we are setting the stage for a deep dive into that to explore these critical issues. So I would like to invite the moderator. If I could get some stage help, if you could come up for me 1 second. Someone to help me with the chairs very fast. I'd like to invite our moderator, Professor Catherine von Troyer. Yes, let's give Professor Catherine a round of applause. I just need this chair closer to me. Okay. Yes. All right, part of the panel, we have Dr. Mohita Shrivastava. Yes, I love saying that, Shrivastava. All right, yes, round of applause. She's making her way to the stage. Kunal Sharma, I met you earlier. Yes, I love this pink suit. You are making such a statement. I love it. Mohammed Rafiruddin, are you here? Yes, he's here. We were looking for you. Let's give him a round of applause as well. And lastly, Dr. Meghna Kambam. Yes, one more? All right, that's okay. There she is. Very nice. All right, so I'm going to hand over to Professor Catherine von Troyer. That's for you. All right. Come on up. You waiting for the red carpet? I'll organize something.
Thank you.
Yes, you can find your mics on the chairs. You just have to switch them on before using them. Huh?
So good morning, everyone. Welcome and thank you for being here today. I'm very excited to commence this discussion on our younger generations experiencing higher rates of depression and anxiety compared to previous generations. And this morning I would like to introduce our panellists. In fact, I'll ask them to introduce themselves and talk a little bit about what we all do. And then we've got some group discussion after that. So I'll hand over to Dr. Meghna Kambam. Thank you.
So, hi, very good afternoon. I think, so I'm Dr. Meghna Kambam, and I'm from Care and Grow. We're an organization that works with 0 to 6 years early childhood development. We have a patented first in the world end-to-end ecosystem for development management for 0 to 6 years, the mental development. And I think today we are here to really discuss about the impact of various aspects in increasing the anxiety and depression levels in the today's children, especially the teenagers, and all of us are going to really talk about that. So my take on why, if you would like me to go ahead with it, I would do that. Yeah, please. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. Assalamu alaikum. Dubai. Okay, I'm very happy to be here. I'm Kunal Sharma. I'm from Bombay, and I'm lifestyle coach, health and fitness coach, and I'm in this line from the last 33 years. And I have seen a lot in my whole life because I teach physical, mental, physiological, different types of workouts, performance enhancement, the eyes exercise, simple proprioception workouts. There are so many things to learn in this line. Fitness is not only fitness, it's just a bold science. So today we are going to discuss about depression, anxiety, mental problems in youth, which is very, very important to discuss. And I'm very, very excited. We'll take a discussion step by step. So this was my introduction. I'll see you soon.
Yeah, hello, good morning, everyone. My name is Mohita. I'm Dr. Mohita Srivastav, and I'm a neuroscientist and a neuropsychologist by profession. I'm also the founder of Cognitum program. This program is meant for cognitive rehabilitation and training of the issues related to cognition, cognitive control, and executive functions. And I'm also a passionate writer. I write many articles on topics related to brain, mind, and behavior. And I'm here to talk today on the topic anxiety and depression among the young generation, Gen Z and Gen Alpha. What are the causes and how is it happening in them? And is it true that the Gen Z or Gen Alpha is more prone to anxiety and depression these days? So I'll be sharing my thoughts over it. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. My name is Muhammad Sabauddin Rafiuddin. I'm the founder of Muhammad's Mental Health Campaign based in London in the United Kingdom, which is a campaign aimed at improving access to mental health services for disadvantaged communities, particularly ethnic minority communities, Asians, African, Middle Eastern communities across the world. And also I'm the founder of Muhammad's Mental Health Helpline, which is a global helpline aimed at providing expert support to people in their own native languages. So one of the problems that people have facing mental health difficulties from ethnic minorities is being able to communicate their problems in their own language. So to try and solve this, I created a helpline for everybody, but I get a lot of calls, me and my team get a lot of calls from young people and the youth of today. And we provide support in English, Urdu, Hindi, Punjabi, Yoruba, Hausa, Twi, Bangla, in a wide variety of languages to help people that are in distress, particularly young people who are in distress. Thank you.
Thank you, panelists. And I am, as I mentioned, Professor Catherine von Troyer. I'm from Melbourne in Victoria in Australia, and I'm the CEO and Provost of the Camilla Institute. And the Camilla Institute has a triple helix model where we train mental health professionals. We also conduct research which informs what we train, and we also provide mental health services through several clinics throughout Melbourne. So we're a not-for-profit and a charity organisation. So let's just set the scene here and let's talk about, is there actually a problem? Are younger generations in our different regions experiencing higher rates of depression and anxiety? So let's all just have our view from our regions. Megana, would you like to start?
I think there are the few contributing factors to this, and very apparent and very in-the-face one, like all of us know, is social media. And the best part of somebody's life is always projected in social media. And we as adults also really find it difficult to tell it apart from what is real life and what is not. And for teenagers, their world is around social media, on Instagram and everything, and where people project the best of their life. So I think that's kind of a standard that they hold about what their life should be, what their lifestyle should be, or like what is the economic status that they should place themselves in. I think that's something which is the complex of comparison is the first reason of the anxiety and this thing. And I think the second major part, like very recently we've seen the corporate CEOs of the major social media platforms answer this to the US Senate. So we've seen that more than 14% of the kids on social media today are getting bullied and harassed, and they did something that they would hold ransom to their parents and extract and blackmail a lot of these things, and one part of it has been also child trafficking. So I think that's another factor that's also contributing. So the economic downturn, now we see that the quality of life or the amount of earnings that a single person has versus what he was making with the same kind of education, with the same kind of qualifications. The amount of money and the quality of life the people would have about 10 years ago, it's drastically decreased right now. So there's a lot of struggle with the younger generations on the economic instability. I think I really feel that these are the real contributors to somebody in stress, and whatever that minor anxiety and depression is there is getting really amplified by these factors, and we all need to really create an ecosystem, deploy experts, easy access to health, mental health care, and we need to kind of create groups to cater to this. So, yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Before I'll start my conversation on this topic, let's everybody join me and stand up, please. If you can. Thank you. So just shake your legs. So that just, now we are ready to understand now. Until we are not ready mentally and physically, you cannot absorb. So forget about depression, forget anxiety, forget mental disorder. We are not here. Just forget for some time. Now, breathe. You don't need to breathe in and breathe out from your nose. It's all right. So breathe. Now that is called life force, energy. If our breathing is like this, which is always 17 or 15 hours in a day, numbers, job, this, that, I'm running here, there, to search this, to find this, to pull this. The breathing is the life force. If we will not breathe in and breathe out, these are the basic core values of life. If we will not correct these things, forget about supplements, forget about medicines, forget about everything. The first thing we are forgetting, our children, youth, is forgetting breathing, peace, patience. The mobility. They are sitting on the phone constantly. I have seen my clients, I'm training all over the world after COVID digitally. Everything is available now. On one place, you put the camera, you are connecting to America, you're connecting to Australia, you're connecting to London, Dubai. I have seen people in the age of, forget about teenagers, people in the age of 30s, 35, 40s, they are constantly on phone in trains. Husband and wife sitting in the restaurant and they are on the phone. They are eating dinner, they are on the phone. So breathing, please sit down if you can now. So breathing and mobility, these are the two things are very, very important. Forget about depression, anxiety, anything. The next thing is very, very important, which is called sleep. As our best doctors and experts already discussed about very short, they have given you the pointers about the sleep. But I want to dig little deeper than that. Sleep is so important to kill any kind of pathogen, to strengthen our immunity, okay? To beat age, to enhance focus. The focus I'm putting right now and I'm talking to you guys. So I'm attracting your attention. This is not only because by the way, my age is 52, okay? And I'm in this line from the last 32 years as I discussed already. the question is not that the age. The question is with the age, how fast you're moving. Your nervous system, your reflexes, your cognitive function, your absorption. So sleep is the key, is the best medication. If we are not sleeping on time, if we are killing circadian rhythm of the body, our clock, every cell has a clock. In our body, built up of billions of cells, everybody knows. It's a simple, it's not a rocket science which I'm discussing. It's a general core value of life. So each cell has a circadian rhythm, is a clock, okay? So now, when we are supposed to sleep and we are eating, and when we're supposed to get up, we are sleeping. Now, you're the best judge. You know what will happen to your brain, what will happen to the next future generation, because the world is growing so fast, and with the world, everybody is growing, everybody is in race. Where is the peace? Where is the stoppage? As a parent, this is our rule, discipline, whatever you say, our duty to strengthen our children, our youth, our students' lifestyle. You understand that? So sleep is the best medication. If you will not sleep for 3 days, you will change your blood glucose level. Immediately. Fasting blood glucose level is immediately changed. So as soon as the fasting blood glucose level change, you will not be able to think straight. You will start increasing your craving. And that's where the problem starts. This is the core. What time you sleep, you're the best judge. But I sleep, by the way, I sleep 7:30 in the evening and I get up at 2:45 in the morning. But people tell me, mad, all my clients also, because you have no life. But let me tell you, in short, every spiritual scripture, you take anything, it is written, after sunset, you should not eat. That is the first line I've said. Forget depression, anxiety, everything. That we will discuss. We have a lot of points. I have 40 points to discuss here. We don't need. We need the core points. If you will not sleep before 10, let me tell you, in short again, your gallbladder will suffer, your liver will suffer, your kidneys will suffer, your pancreas will suffer, because they're supposed to do something else and they're doing something else. So what will happen? Chaos. Chaos. You will never recover mentally and physically. There is a filing system in the brain that is called non-REM cycle and REM cycle. If you know about the sleep cycle, rapid eye movement, non-rapid eye movement. So there is a first half, starting from 9:30 to around 12:30 is a non-rapid eye movement. Then 12:30 to 5 o'clock, it is a rapid eye movement. So there is a science, is an ancient science behind it. It is not like this, we made it like this. You know, this statement. It's written in scriptures. If we are not filing and recovering the system, you will not be able to retain your memory. You will not eliminate the garbage, which is nonsense memory. So definitely our brain will suffer, our body will suffer, our blood sugar will suffer. It's simple. So we will take it from there.
Thank
Thanks.
you, Kunal.
Thank you, Kunal. Catherine, before I answer your question, I would like to thank Kunal for such a body and mind storming 2, 3 minutes, 5 minutes talk. So now, coming back to your question, yeah, I certainly believe that the younger generations are more prone to anxiety and depression these days. You can call it Gen Z or Gen Alpha. And I believe that there is multiple factors that are contributing to this, like as you, Meghna, and I have discussed about the social media, the technology, and Kunal, sleep also, the sleep cycle. That might be attributed to the excessive use of the social media and technology. And socioeconomic factors, trauma and adverse childhood experiences, of course, and, you know, changing social norms, rapidly changing social norms. We all are aware about that, LGBTQ and all that. But I would rather say that, to me, in my humble opinion, the most important factor that is contributing to anxiety and depression among Gen Z or Gen Alpha is pressure. Pressure to succeed and achieve at any cost. Pressure laid on them by their peers, by the educators, by the teachers, by the parents, by the society. So you have to get A+, you have to become a doctor, you have to become a scientist, you have to become a successful businessman. These all kind of things they have been listening since their childhood. The parents are comparing, the relatives are comparing, the friends are comparing. So, in fact, one of my articles had been published in Khalij Times here in Dubai, talks about the imposter syndrome. And another one is published in the Khalij Times, which talks about the stress and pressure at workplace. And I believe that these kind of pressure from peers, from parents, from educators and teachers eventually lead to the development of imposter syndrome as well as anxiety and depression among the youngsters.
Thank you, Mohammed.
Thank you. Thank you to everyone for your amazing contribution. There's 2 points that I would like to make. The first point is that when we talk about mental health, we need to understand the concept of stigma. Mental health has been and still currently is heavily stigmatized. Previous generations were very reluctant to talk about mental health, anxiety, depression, psychosis, post-traumatic stress disorder, all of these illnesses. But what I've seen with the younger generation now is that they are much more open to talking about mental health compared to previous generations. So people that I'm speaking to, they will openly say, I'm going through a difficult time in my life, this is what's happened to me, this is what I'm going through. Whereas previously, generations which were older found it a little bit more difficult to go to the psychiatrist or go to the doctor and get themselves diagnosed for a mental health condition. So I think stigma, we still have a long way to go. Even amongst the youth, mental health is still heavily stigmatized. A lot of young people are reluctant to even talk about mental health. They're very reluctant to be labeled as being depressed or be labeled as having anxiety because of the fear of judgment from society, from their peers, from their work colleagues, and what society will think of them if they are labeled as being mentally ill. The second point that I'd like to make is on social media. 20 or 30 years ago, if somebody went on holiday or if they went to a restaurant or if they purchased a new car or new clothes, not that many people would know about it. Maybe a handful of people would know that this person went on holiday to this country or this person purchased this new car. Whereas now with social media, everything you're doing is publicized to the world at the click of a button. And young people now, more than the previous generation, are, susceptible to this because, they're seeing person X or person Y or person Z going on 3 holidays a year, buying a new car, buying nice clothes, and they're thinking, why is my life not like this? Why can't I go on 3 holidays a year? Why can't I buy the latest car, the latest clothes, the latest iPhone? And what I'm seeing with the younger generation is that, this illusion of a perfect lifestyle, which social media is broadcasting to the world, where people are looking at their peers, particularly these influencers that are on social media who portray themselves as having, the perfect life. And young people, the reason why there's higher rates of depression and anxiety is because young people are comparing their lives to the other lives that they're seeing on social media, and they're thinking, I'm not, I haven't gone on 3 holidays this year, I haven't purchased a new car, a new house, I haven't got designer clothes. And that's why when they're comparing their lives to the lives of other people, they're feeling low about themselves, and they're thinking, why is this person's life so amazing? But what they don't realize is that social media is just an illusion. It's not portraying their full life. Every person that you're seeing on social media is just broadcasting, the best aspects of their lives. They're not showing you about their struggles or the hard times that they've gone through. They're just showing you that I've just gone on this holiday, I had the best time of my life, it was so amazing, you guys are missing out. And so when we talk about mental health with young people, social media is playing such a pivotal and crucial role for the points that I mentioned before. And also the stigma, I can talk about it from a South Asian perspective, from a Pakistani or Indian or Bengali perspective, because even within the South Asian community, it's extremely difficult to talk about mental health. With English or with American families, they will sit at the dinner table and they will talk about how was your school, how was your day, how was your work. Oh, I'm going through a difficult time. This is what happened at work. This is what happened at school. This is what happened with my friends. But unfortunately, this is a huge problem that I'm personally trying to tackle myself in society with the South Asian community, to get people talking about mental health, get people talking about the struggles that they're facing. And this is not just aimed at young people and the younger generation, although this discussion is aimed at young people, but it's for everyone, from ethnic minorities, to start talking about mental health, to start speaking to their families, to their friends. You know, it doesn't have to be that you go to a psychiatrist or you go to a therapist to talk about your problems. I just want to facilitate the conversation whereby people are talking about mental health, even to their friends or even to their family. So in my humble opinion, stigma and social media, they're two contributing factors to why the younger generation are facing an increase in depression and anxiety. Thank you.
Thank you, Mohammed. So, and my contribution from Australia, I guess, is that in a recent government report that was released in December 2023, so very recent, 1 in 7 people, youth, were reported to have had mental health concerns. Moreover, suicide is actually the leading cause of death among Australians aged between 15 to 24 years old, making up 36% of all deaths. It's quite a significant figure, is it? So if we're asking the question, is there a problem with youth mental health concerns? Yes, there is. And all these, the biopsychosocial model, I think, is being described by this panel in a very passionate way. So thank you for your insights from your regions.
Thank you.
And I think Australia also shares some of all of the things that you've mentioned in terms of being problematic. One thing that was unique to us was that Melbourne, you may not know, we had one of the biggest lockdowns during COVID. I think we're one of the most locked down cities, and where we were very socially isolated, students were from each other. Some of the unintended consequences of that was huge amounts of university and school dropout, and really led by people's levels of depression and anxiety. So along with the youth also being in insecure and casual work and those economic pressures that also is shared with the panel. So one thing I take away from this discussion is, while we're on different corners of the universe, you know, the idea of youth depression and anxiety being a problem is really ubiquitous. So it's really a common problem that we all share. But we don't want to stop the conversation here. We want to lift you up, because I think we've all got some ideas also about what some solutions might be. So let's shift to, well, okay, this is a problem, but what are some of our solutions? So I've got some questions posed for the panellists. We might have to do a couple of shortcuts though, due to time. But I'd like to start off having a bit of a deep dive into some of our more nuanced experiences that we have. So one of the first questions is around the high rates of depression and anxiety that's experienced by Gen Z has had quite significant implications on cognitive health. And how do you think, Mahita, if I may ask this of you, sort of how do you think mental health issues can impact on the cognitive health of millennials?
Thank you for the question, Catherine. Before I proceed to answer this question, I would just like to share a very a small incident, real life incident, that my son, he is around 7 years old. And one day he came to me, as we discussed, I was a little tired, overwhelmed with work, so I was not paying attention to what he was saying to me. So the one question that he asked, Mama, why are you not listening to me? Why are you not answering my question? Are you depressed? I said, huh? Immediately, it rang the bell. I said, depressed? What is depressed? What do you understand by depression? He said, I don't know. My friend says when their mama is not, when their moms and dads are not talking, They're depressed. So I thought you're also depressed. You're not answering. You're not responding. He's a 7. He's going to be 7 next month. So, you know, I'm not talking about Gen Z here. I'm talking about Gen Alpha. The kids are so much so aware nowadays about the term anxiety and depression. They don't know the meaning, but they know something is wrong. If you say the word being depressed, or if you say something like being anxious, that is something wrong. So this is how the social media, as well as, you know, the technology is impacting their mind. So now coming to the question of how anxiety and depression, what do you think about the cognitive health? Does it impact? Yes, it does. There are multiple research evidences from years of research. They suggest that major depressive disorder and generalized anxiety disorder, GAD, which we call as GAD, they really affect the cognitive skills, cognitive abilities, and executive functioning. In fact, I have recently published one of the case studies, that is the treatment of generalized anxiety disorder using cognitive approach in terms of improvement of the cognitive functioning. And I also published 2 of the articles regarding brain fog and exercises to boost cognitive health. So definitely, anxiety and depression does affect the cognitive health in terms of, first and foremost, you know, impairment in concentration and focus. And this leads to basically decreased productivity and problems in attention. The next most important thing is memory, both working memory, short-term, long-term memories. So people often, you know, they think, you don't even understand why it is happening to me. It's because of the brain fog, because you couldn't sleep well, because you were putting so much of your time on social media, browsing, WhatsApp, Instagram, LinkedIn, you know, all that stuff. So memory problems, it happens, and especially the working memory does get affected. And you are unable to remember things or recall things. So this is one of the repercussions of anxiety and depression in terms of cognitive health. Another thing is executive functioning, like your decision-making abilities, your strategic planning, your abilities to organize something, your goal-directed behavior. These things are generally getting, affected because of anxiety and depression. I would say that these are the aftermath of anxiety and depression, or the repercussions of anxiety and depression. And one thing that I would like to mention here, like we all have survived by the grace of God, the COVID era. And post-COVID, the post-COVID cognitive decline is very common. Brain fog, which we called as in a general term. Brain fog is mental fatigue. It's lack of, concentration, focus, attention, and impairment in memory, working memory. Working memory is mostly affected as compared to the long-term memory. So what happens, like when you go to a doctor, they will do your blood work, your everything, whether you are a diabetic or cholesterol, your other parameters, but they come out to be normal. Then what has happened? It's because of the brain fog, and this has been happening post-COVID, not only to Gen Z or Gen Alpha, but to all of us. So that is also one of the things, but the Gen Z and Gen Alpha is mostly getting affected because everybody once in their lifetime had suffered from COVID, but they are more prone to it because of the lack of sleep, plus too much focus and concentration on gaming, PS5, gaming, digital, social media, digital technology, use of that, the overwhelming use of those things. So yes, it does affect cognitive health, and these are like executive functions, memory, focus, attention. These are really getting affected by anxiety and depression.
Okay, thank you. And I'd like to ask Kunal and I'll ask Mohammed about what strategies can younger individuals employ to cope with feelings of depression and anxiety, and please keep your response to a couple of minutes.
So there are, at least in my notebook, 40 types of strategies. So I'm not going to cover each of them. But as I discussed earlier, the sleep is the first and the last most important component in our life, which is creating a hell of problems. Now the next point, please don't mind, I'm going to mention very frankly, transparently, what we eat. You know what we eat. Everybody, I saw it outside in the morning, the buffet was there. Every plate I have seen. How many refined carbohydrate foods, high sugary foods, artificial, things, processed foods, we are consuming every day. Our children are consuming every day. It is mind-boggling. I'm telling you, these things we are creating. It is not done by any company or any kind of, promotion or anything, because what we eat, our children, everybody sees, they start eating. If somebody has a kid around, as she mentioned, 7 years old, right? It is very difficult to control them. If they ask a phone, if you don't give them, they will go out of the order. If they want a muffin, they want a muffin only. So these are the small, things in life which we are lacking as a parent. I have seen whenever I don't have time to go to malls because I'm constantly busy online with my sessions, but whenever I go, sometimes I have to buy. Otherwise, as we mentioned, everything is available online, so it's a very nice thing, but sometimes it's a very bad thing for people who do not move only. You got my point? Because as a trainer, as a coach, wellness coach, I train myself almost every day, 45 minutes, not 2 hours. I'm not against marathon races. That is the extra stress people are putting. Okay? Yeah. So these are the small pointers which I want to mention, and we'll take the discussion further. Thank you.
Mohammed, thank you.
Thank you. You mentioned statistics. There's one statistic that I wanted to share as well, which is really crucial to this discussion. In the United Kingdom, they recently released a statistic that 74% of all suicides in the UK are carried out by men. And this is a huge problem, not just in the United Kingdom, but all over the world. Young men are finding it difficult to talk about their mental health problems. So 74%, that's 7 out of 10 of all suicides in the United Kingdom are carried out by men. And this, when I read this statistic, I was really shocked that there is, little help available for young men who are going through distress, which is why I launched my helpline to try and help them and give them someone that they could speak to at a time of difficulty and mental distress. But answering your question in terms of what strategies, sleep is very important. I think one of the most important strategy that I would give advice to is exercise. Because, we talked about the role of physical health and the relationship between physical health and mental health. And this is something which, not that many people understand, the link between your mind and your body. If you can take time out every day just to exercise, even if it's just going for a walk, going for a run, going for a jog, that will improve your cognitive functions, your mental clarity, your thought process, your concentration, and it helps you, have a more fulfilling and a happier outlook on life as well. It allows you to be more grateful, and gratitude is the next point that I would give advice to, that you should always try and find something that you're grateful for, even if it's the smallest thing, because that will help you every single day. Just find 1 or 2 things that today I'm grateful for this, today I'm grateful for this. As well as sleep, eating the right foods, exercising, and the most important thing that I would say is having a support network around you that you can just speak to. Whether it's family, whether it's friends, if you feel the need to go to a therapist, then don't be reluctant in approaching a therapist or approaching a psychiatrist and saying that these are the difficulties that I'm facing. Whether it's young people, whether it's old people, whatever your age, whatever your background, race, ethnicity, religion. Mental health affects everybody. And the phone calls that I receive on my helpline that me and my team deal with is from people in Asia, people in Africa, people in Indonesia, England, America. And it's such a universal problem that we're facing that the names are different. The names might be, Mohammed or Rakesh or something else, but the problem is exactly the same. So whichever country they're in, they're going through exactly the same struggles, they're going through exactly the same problems, they're affected by the same problems wherever in the world they are. So my advice would be sleep, exercise, and a support network around you where you can talk about your problems, what you're going through, your challenges, and having someone there that can just listen to your problems. That's the advice that I would give.
Great, thank you. And what are some of the preventative measures that can be taken to promote better mental health of younger generations? So, Makana?
Very quickly, I think with already what we are doing, we really feel that first the policy should move in a direction of scalable and universally replicatable solutions. So cheaper tech-based solutions to get the whole ecosystem together. There are individual practitioners and everybody's doing their best, but I think we need everybody on one ecosystem, and it should be very affordably made available for parents to really get support, for students to really get support in discretion. There are these platforms which are coming up today, but the power of cloud is still not used in this sector or for these issues. So just like how we're working with 50,000 kids in India today, harnessing the power of technology and putting the screening tests and then giving the interventions individually for families as a customized plan on the application. And then providing the access to experts as well. All of this should come together in a very one platform, which is affordable to everybody, accessible to everybody in discretion. So I think the policymakers should move towards this. Entrepreneurs like us, doctors like me, entrepreneurs like me, how we have made a step, everybody in all of the world, they should come together. They are individual, wonderful experts like you and a lot of people on this panel. We really wish that through harnessing the technology, we can put everybody together, give a sustainable solution to everybody. And I call on the people in the audience as well, everywhere in the world, to really do that to end this problem.
Thank you. And Mahita, would you like to add to that?
Yeah, I would rather say that prevention is always better than cure. So I would like to emphasize on two important factors, which is creating awareness and educating them, right? In the form of small sessions, in the form of online talks, in the form of small movies. But educate your kids, educate your teens, and tell them that if these are the symptoms that you're facing, or is there something which is bothering you, you should just come and seek the support or tell us. We should not, because as Kunal and Mohammed have rightly said that, in South Asian countries, still talking about the mental health issues is still a sort of stigma. Though people are opening up a lot, there are, I'm from India, so I would talk about India. People are opening a lot about it. They are open to talk about it. But still, in the society, if for example, if in their board exams, the kid has not scored 90 plus or something like that, even if the kid is quite intelligent, it's just the bad day or the bad paper that he couldn't solve or something had happened, but the pressure created by the parents or the peers is going to, bother him a lot, him or her a lot. So that's what I'm trying to tell, that the prevention is always better than cure, and you should create awareness, and you should tell your kids whenever something is wrong or bothering, just come to us. We will help you to seek support if we are not the therapists or we are not the counselors. And second thing I will say, teach them resilience and coping skills. Coping skills in the form of cognitive training, in the form of emotional intelligence, mindfulness-based approaches, and so that they can better cope with the adversities and the emotional challenges that they're going through.
Thank you. And I might also add to this question as well, and and just mention that I think the earlier that we can intervene, the better. With mothers and babies, with our families, with our communities, we need to have more courageous conversations with each other and with others. And I know that in the literature we often talk about intergenerational trauma, and it doesn't take much for that to be exacerbated. And I like to think about how can we create intergenerational improvements in mental health and the conversations. And I think we've had a very holistic conversation here with the panellists. And I see a lot of hope too. Like we talked about solutions. IT and social media can be a problem, but it can be a solution too. I do see youth sharing a lot of love over, their apps and their conversations that they have with other people. When things cross the line and become really negative, that's when we need to step in and have some courageous conversations. And as older people, we need to role model what that looks like. So I think those aspects are really important. I have a lot of hope for the future. I think there's a lot of intervention programs. At the Camilo Institute, we provide free mental health counselling, and we also have programs that have been running for early childcare workers and teachers for some time that have quite a strong evidence base now. But I'd like to ask the other panellists too, just very briefly, just a quick 60-second overview in closing. What do you hope for in the future?
Would you like me to start? So one thing that I would like to say is that my vision for the future in terms of mental health is that I want mental illness to be viewed and spoken about by society the same way physical illness is. So for example, if a person has bad eyesight, they'll go to an optician. Problems with their teeth, they'll go to a dentist. The same way, if they're having any problems with their mind, I don't want them to have any reluctance to go to see a doctor about their mental health. So your question, what is my vision for the future in terms of mental health? I hope and I pray for a future where mental health is viewed in exactly the same light as physical health and physical illness. That's my vision for the future.
Thank you. Nita?
Yeah. I would also say the same thing. I second that people should be speaking about it open-heartedly and open-mindedly, and they should, and across the globe. It's not only about the Western countries, because they're already, quite open about it, and the mental health practices are very, very well acknowledged in the Western countries. But my vision is also that in terms of mental health, the people should be open-minded to discuss, to get the therapeutics and management of it effectively. And I would rather say that always try to balance the cognitive abilities as well as the emotional intelligence. That would create an overall mental balance among the Gen Z.
Thank you. Kunal?
Yeah, thank you. I would say we have to teach our kids, our students, if we are teachers in a school, anywhere, wherever we can give this information, gratitude. We are not, we don't do that kind of training in our children. We are not thankful what we are getting in this fast-paced, high-technology lifestyle. The speed is too much, but the question is gratitude is zero. If I have seen in my country, I'm talking about only my country in India, I have seen children are using 1 lakh rupee phone, okay? 1 lakh rupee phone, they use it and they throw it like this in front of me. And I'm using simple phone, it's on my desk, it's just an Android phone. It is not impossible for me to buy. It's just how much money I want to spend, I can spend. But the question is that the values have gone. So first, very important thing, gratitude is very, very important to create a great mental health.
Thank
and
you.
to beat the depression and anxiety.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Megana?
So, sticking to the earlier point that we have made, I think we should refrain from going for picking, we are waiting for people to get to us for help, right? So I think we should go one step ahead and really create something that universally screens people who have this and create a methodology that automatically filters and brings them to the experts. And I really think that that's a game changer, because wonderful people like you are already working, and we really wish that as entrepreneurs we create a system to universally screen people in a sustainable manner at their homes, at their schools, wherever they're available, without coming to the clinic, and then catch those borderline and cases to really take help. And we need to build that system. And that's, I think, is the sustainable solution. Thank you. Use technology for it, of course.
Yeah. So thank you. So we've had some good solutions and some certain hope with the future, and I think conferences like this are great because it's part of where we can start sharing our thoughts and making connections to have that global intervention. And I would like to thank our very passionate group of panellists so much for joining us today, and thank you for being part of the audience. It's been wonderful, so thank you kindly. Thanks.
Thank you.
A big thank you indeed
thanks
to our experts for this deeply insightful conversation. I believe we have gained more nuanced perspective on the mental health challenges confronting today's young people. I love the suit still. I love it. Such a statement. All right. Thank you, ladies. Thank you so much. Thank you, Professor.